So next we're going to look at what happens when our first term is a negative and we multiply that by a positive. So far our first term has only been positive numbers, so we have been looking at that as adding groups, but now we have this negative, right? We have a negative in our first term. So what this is going to mean now is that we are going to take away 3 groups of a positive 2. We are taking away 3 groups of 2. Now we can imagine that this screen is like our desk, and right now it is blank. When we were adding before, we could add anything we wanted to, but when it's telling us to take away something and we have nothing on our table, we need to go back to this idea of creating 0 pairs like we did with subtraction. So in order to take away 3 groups of positive 2, I need to create some 0 pairs on my table so that I can do that action of removing something. So I'm going to start with 3 groups of positive 2. There's 1 group, 2 groups, and 3 groups. But I need my table to still equal 0. So I'm also going to add 3 groups of negative 2. So the value of our table is still 0 because we basically have positive 6 plus negative 6, which equals 0. But now we can take away 3 groups of 2. Let's do that action. So here's 1 group of 2, we'll take it away. Here's 2 groups of 2, we'll take it away. There's 3 groups of 2, we'll take it away. So we just removed 3 groups of negative 2, or of 2, and we are left with 3 groups of negative 2. So our answer here is negative 6. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negative tiles left. Let's try that with this one. So again, here this is telling us we're going to take away, because we have a negative right there, 4 groups of 3. And so just like in that last problem, I'm going to move up to the top because for some reason that's in the middle. Interesting. Here's our board. Let's imagine that's our board. We have nothing on it, so we can't take anything away. But I can create some 0 pairs. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start with making 4 groups of positive 3. There's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. So there's 4 groups of positive 3. But in order to balance out my table so that my table still has a value of 0, I have to do 1 group of negative 3, 2 groups of negative 3, 3 groups of negative 3, 4 groups of negative 3. And now I have enough to take away 4 groups of 3. Let's do that. Let's get out my yellow. I like it when it's all big like that. I can say there's 1 group of 3, 2 groups of 3, 3 groups of 3, 4 groups of 3. So I just took away 4 groups of 3. And what I was left with was all of my negatives. I'm left with negative 3, negative 3, negative 3, negative 3. So I'm left with 12 negatives. So that equals negative 12. So keep keeping with our rules that we're writing, anytime we have that first term a negative and our second term a positive, we're going to end up with a negative. Always, 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 a negative number multiplied by a positive number is going to give you a negative product.